Sorry.
We are the Aussie guys, 2/3 of which are asleep. But one of them,
That's close.
one of them
Are you someone like got it kicking or something?
on the ball for once. How you going?
So who was asleep?
I wasn't asleep. Yeah.
Oh, Ben was asleep. That's okay. I was just checking my phone in front of me here. I'm just on the dating sites. I'm just doing flick left or right.
That's fair enough.
I was just reading the notes you sent me earlier. Gee, that's why I was.
Sorry, man. My notes are a bit like that.
Welcome.
Thank you.
It is a lockdown Friday in Melbourne, lockdown in Sydney. So, two of the biggest population centres in Australia are locked down currently. If you're joining us from overseas, well, who knows where you're at. I hope you're not locked down. And, the NFL season grows ever closer. We are mid-July. I don't have to tell you the date, but, we're getting closer to training camp. So, it's going to start getting exciting. This time of year typically is a bit of a wasteland. We just get the requisite sort of news about Tom Brady playing with one leg. I shouldn't.
And waiting for some player a DUI or something like that. That's what you're just waiting for now. Is every team owner and coach and they're all just waiting. Just please don't let the phone ring late in the middle of the night at like 2:00. That's just not what I need right now.
So and so was pulled over and he's got an Uzi.
Uzi in the back seat.
That's not what you want to hear.
No.
It's almost like you win a Super Bowl. Here's your medal and here's your Uzi to carry around. Just
a gold Uzi.
Yeah.
Now we thought we would start with a little bit of Scott Fishbowl talk. Now, Scott Fishbowl 11. Most drafts have concluded at this point in time.
Not all, or just
not
most. Not all, mate.
I bet some are still going. I'm not sure. We finished ages ago.
Yeah.
The Coldplay division for any of my teammates who are tuning in. But
I think you finished at least three or 4 days before mine, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Benny, you're all done, aren't you?
Yeah. Someone said we were the third league to finish out of the whole thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mate, we were in the top 20 slowest, so we're pretty proud. I said we had a really good chat going with a few guys, and I said, mate, top 20, that's really poor. I said, top 10. How come we're not aiming for the top 10? And I reckon there was a few guys that we were playing in our league, mate, that were really trying to get us into the top 10 slowest.
Well, without naming names, there was a guy at the turn. I mean, this is a bit of a pet hate when someone is at the turn and they make one pick and then disappear.
I don't get it. We had the same. How do you not make 2 picks in a row? How do you not know who the second bloke you want to take is?
Oh, no, we didn't. I'm not chewing out anyone in the Coldplay division. No, we didn't have that. I know you had that.
Oh, I did. Yeah, it's like, are you serious, dude? Like, just bang, bang. Just like really, when you're on the turn, the only time that should be between your picks, when you're on the clock is, if you don't see the 11 or wherever end of you're at.
Yes.
That they've picked. So, I've been on the clock for 2 hours. And then you should go bang, bang, you should bang them out. Like 4 hours later. And what I didn't also understand is how I know you get the 8 hours and all that, and it's a slow draft and blah, blah, blah. But how do you not check your phone just before you go to bed? Like the amount of times the guy, and it'd stop on his halfway through his. So he never checked at night. Like so many times, actually some of the guys in our chat room put up like Groundhog Day because we got exactly the same amount of picks in every day. The same person always went to bed on the clock. And this poor bastard in Australia is always picking around 2:30 to 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I set my alarm and I wake up and I think I only picked I think my last pick was during the day, in daylight hours in Australia. That was the only one I made. So, and my average time was only 28 minutes. And that was like the third lowest. One guy now didn't even have a time. He had 0 seconds. He had auto pick every round. Like, fantastic effort.
Every round?
Every round he had the auto pick ready to go. He was in the middle, so it's probably a little bit easier. It's a bit harder on the turn. I don't like doing that. I like to be involved in the picks so you can see, you know, who people are taking, if there's a bit of a run going on someone, you know, on a position. And it's just better. It's just, that's the way you do it. So you can pick. It's the best part of the draft. Of the whole thing is the draft.
I agree, and I think I was covered with that anyway because my missus checks my phone at the end of every night anyway. So she was like, you know, who's Cynthia? And then, by the way, in Scottish bar. So that was fine.
But I slept on the couch for the whole time because after the first year of my phone going off next to my bed. And once you turn I don't even care if you got that phone down on the lowest dimmer, it still lights up the room in the middle of the night. So for the last, I think 5 years, I've been on the couch.
Yep.
So
you should buy one of those masks for Christmas. You know the yeah. There's 2 different types of masks you buy for the bedroom. Make sure you buy the right one.
I've used a pillow a couple of times.
Well, I'm going to change the topic. So, Campy, how you doing? He's just posted that apparently a chap called Kyle August is asking UG to stop hassling him. You're a frequent troll, I think, on their YouTube channel. So,
yeah, I might just like to give. It's not just, you know, Kyle show, which is the fantasy SmackDown. But I give, you know, everybody a fair shot at, you know, a bit of trolling. You know, Memphis and Jerry get it. Not so much Memphis, just Jerry.
You're an equal opportunity troll.
Yeah,
Peppy. We'll call you Peppy.
That's perfect.
So listen, let's get stuck into some SFB chat.
Can I just say too before we start?
Yep.
This is
what
terrible.
Is that? Mango and pineapple?
It is terrible. It was in the fridge down. We got a mini bar down the back hidden away. And this is my daughter's. This is what she drinks when she goes out. You know, she's a health conscious but still wants to have some alcohol. Mate, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, 2 strong, gluten-free, and bloody vegan.
What's in it?
I think just water and alcohol and maybe some artificial mango and pineapple.
Ugh.
You know it says seltzer on the thing. Does that mean like it's like, you know, the morning after you used to put a couple of seltzers in? Does it do everything? Gets you drunk and then gets you sober?
Yeah, keeps you hydrated at the same time. Just I have no idea, but it's absolutely terrible. But I have to drink it now because I opened it and it's hers. They probably cost about like $9 each. I have no idea.
I was going to say they're probably expensive as all get out. Now, while I'm conscious of the fact that not everybody is in the Scott Fish Bowl, it's just a good redraft chat in general, isn't it?
Yep.
Campy's just saying his division's got 2 rounds left. Wow.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
That'll do my heading. That'll do it.
That is slow. That's putting the slow into slow draft.
Yeah, we had a little bit of the what's the word for it? Passive aggressive in our league going between a few of us, which was quite good. And I actually, I suppose you pronounce it Javier, Javier. Javier.
Yeah.
He's from Mexico and he has a podcast, an NFL podcast in Mexico, which he's invited me on. So that's good. Hey. I said I don't speak Spanish, I suppose. They speak Spanish.
Hola, Javier.
Yes.
You speak Mexican, though, don't you, G? So that's all right.
I butchered English, Queen's English, I speak. Australian. And I do sign language, but usually that's reserved in the car to
I was
other
going to say,
drivers. Yeah. I said that's as far as I go, languages. So.
The universal language.
Yes.
So you posed a few little questions for us,
Yeah.
pre-SFB, which were really quite good. And the first one was all about if we were sniped. No doubt in some round we were sniped, but Ben, why don't we start with you? Were you sniped? Where and when? Who?
I was sniped, and it was thanks to our good old friend, the third round reversal, which was. I know G has very strong feelings about the third round reversal, and probably won't go on a second date with it. But
No.
I think.
Mate, I got up and walked out during dinner, mate. That's how bad it was.
Yeah. Well, I remember looking at it, and I was like, look, if I was picking, where I should be picking, so I'll preface this by saying I went Josh Allen, my first pick. Then I went Austin Eckler, my second pick. Nice. So strong QB running back there. And then usually I thought, right, well, if there's a running back there, I'll go early on running back so that I don't have to think about it again for a bit, and I can focus on the receivers and the tight ends, or I'll maybe go and jump for a top wide receiver. I mean, around where I should have picked were guys like Matt Stafford, Joe Mixon, Tyreek Hill. That's fine. I wasn't too fussed. And then it came to the three picks before me. I was thinking, I'm going to get a running back here, and I'm going to get a wide receiver. And the 4 picks, I think, before me were Calvin Ridley, Cam Akers, Stephon Diggs, and Antonio Gibson, which were all on my hit list pretty much. So I was Gibson was the one I really wanted, and that went 3 picks before. So I ended up going with a bit of a homer. I went Justin Jefferson there instead, which I was still kind of happy with, but I probably would have preferred a Calvin Ridley in there if I'm honest.
Okay, G.
We'll pick it at 101. Favorite spot. It really did. The third round reversal really screws you over. I think it does anyway. Some people might not agree, but it does, because you just don't. I took McCaffrey I was the first pick, obviously, so I took McCaffrey. I figured I can get quarterbacks I'm happy with, but I just wanted him, so I went and grabbed him, and Mahomes went second, which was the obvious. But on the way back, then I've got to take a quarterbacks just disappear. So Ryan Tannehill, and it would have been great. Then I would have backed it up with another RB, which would have been a perfect start. But then, bang, down it goes the other end. And I'm watching everybody take the picks, and I'm going, Antonio Gibson's going to get to me. And I'm going to be very happy with that as my second running back. And I got sniped by Jason Snyder, who's a writer at Dynasty Nerd. He's a senior writer at Dynasty Nerds, and we had a really good chat. We had a good chat room going. So I changed his last name from Snyder to Sniper. So that's the hardest thing when you see people take it. You go, mate, there's some guys on the board that he could take here, and it's just the guy you want is just gone. So and then in about 2 rounds later, he went and took Josh Jacobs ahead of me as well. Yes. That really the last of the decent running backs that were left. So he got me twice basically. Thanks.
My snipe. Well, I mean, I think that actually the people that I was targeting leading up to my pick, generally speaking, I think I was pretty lucky in that sense. I'm not saying my expectations were unreal, but when you're sort of like 5 or 6 picks away and you're looking at it and thinking, ooh, I really want this guy. I hope he drops to me. I hope he makes it to me. Generally speaking, that happened. I was pretty happy. But one time it didn't happen for me, and that was in the 12th. I was hoping for Jarvis Landry, who, I'm a fan of him.
Are you really getting sniped in the 12th round?
Maybe you're not. I don't know. But anyway, I mean, that was the only time I thought, because I had my for some reason that round took quite a long time, and I was looking at Landry the whole time, looking at him, and and then he went the pick before me.
So basically, you really got nothing to complain about.
I've got nothing to complain about.
No, okay.
Yeah. So I was pretty happy otherwise.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Mate, I wouldn't. It got to a certain point where if someone you get to a certain round, and then just sort of the sniping just becomes a bit of fun, but on the group chat, it didn't start to bother me if some guys were there and they weren't, because I find at the start there's certain guys I want, and that's when it annoys me more. And as you start going through the draft, it's like, okay, now I've got a group of guys that I'd be happy taking. So that's what it is.
The ADP opens up considerably as you get
without a doubt. Yes, without a doubt.
But there are guys that drop, though. To be fair, there are guys that drop, and you think, oof, he's dropping. I hope he gets to me. That's kind of when you...
one of the things I noticed... Yeah, sorry, with that, though, one of the things I noticed is that rookies go very high. I'm very surprised, considering, it's redraft and all that. Rookies seem to go crazily high for me.
Yeah.
And usually it was the vets who you saw a lot of value from.
I'm just looking over here, but I didn't take one rookie.
I took one very late. I think my first rookie I took was 15th round, Pat Freiermuth, Pittsburgh Steelers tight end, which is like my third tight end off the board. So
he went as like the fifth last pick or something overall in our whole draft.
Okay.
Which was probably should have taken a shot of him actually. But anyway,
point, you're just rolling the dice. Speaking of which, your favorite pick overall. Gee, why don't you start?
My favorite pick was just the fact I don't own any CD Lamb in any league, and it's someone that I've been trying. I tried to get him. I had him high when he came out. I just wasn't in a position to draft him in any of my leagues last year. It's just my favorite pick because I think he could be an RB1, like in that range. Like if he can do what he did with Dak, like you look at what he did last year. What was it? 935 yards.
An RB
wide receiver one. Sorry, did I say RB? Did I?
You did.
Mate, this Alka-Seltzer is really kicking in. 935 and 5 TDs, mate. And look at mate. You had Dalton, you had Dak for how many games? What was it? Three and a bit, 4 games. And then he had, Ben DiNucci, Garrett Gilbert throwing in balls, and he still put up those numbers. So I think with a whole season of Dak, you could see him having a really big RB. Is he going to RB? He's going to be wide receiver one. It'd be nice, but mate, he'd be sort of knocking on the door. That's what I'm hoping for. So to get him, I got him at 601. I'm just happy happy to have a share.
601 seems pretty good. That seems pretty good. What about you, Ben? Favorite pick?
I think I have to at the 210. Austin Eckler, I thought was really good value, and just a guy. He missed. You think about he missed 6 games last year as well.
Austin Eckler, no, it's not. It's my Joey Bosa jersey. Isn't
that one of your jerseys where you can just rip the back off and put a different name on?
Probably.
Probably. Your suppliers are very adaptive, I've heard.
Right. Those 5-year-old kids they're handy.
But I was just happy, to get a guy there who is going to, I think, have a hell of a year down there, and is going to come into an offense that I think probably through the preseason last year, he was like, is it going to be Tyrod Taylor? Is it going to be Justin Herbert? Like, he was all a bit uncertain, whereas now you just know what that offense is going to be, and he's going to, and I think hopefully they're going to be ahead a fair bit in games, and he's going to see a bit more work. And really the competition around him is at best complementary. It's not a threat at all. So I just feel like that's a really high sort of ceiling for at 210. And And if I think, the guys who went before him in my league, you're talking about Nick Chubb, you're talking about Jonathan Taylor, Barkley. Aaron Jones went 2 picks before. I think I'm just happy that I got him. He's in probably my top 2 out of all those guys. So, yeah, pretty happy with that.
Mate, isn't it amazing what a quarterback can do to the fortunes of a football team?
Oh, hell yeah.
Like, we all know they're the most important, but it's just amazing how we've looked at the Chargers like, we're picking a quarterback next year, we've been crap. And all of a sudden, Herbert starts and everything opens up. And look, and you go into the season this year with, mate, really, I don't know if you're Super Bowl bound, but, mate, you're definitely, playoff bound. And maybe even in a little bit, who knows? It's only his second year. So, but, mate, if I was a Chargers fan right now, mate, you have to be pretty happy, to be honest.
Oh, hell yeah. And you think of the teams that don't have a franchise quarterback. Washington with Fitzpatrick, I think, is going to be they're going to be pretty good. But imagine if they had like a Justin Herbert or someone like that. Then, my goodness, they'd be in contention for the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
with that defense and
yeah.
Oh,
but gee, you say, but it's only his second year. I just think QBs have to come into the league straight away and be impactful these days. Like, because you talk about the guys now who, like, you feel like they were only drafted like 2 or 3 years ago. Guys like Jared Goff and Marcus Mariota, and they're gone, or they're over the hill, or that you're thinking, well, I'm not going to be touching that guy. I'm not going to be drafting this guy. So I think that makes them all the more valuable, particularly honest. You just have to take a few more punts, I think, early with those guys, like Zach Wilson, because there's so much unknown there. It could go either way. But at the same time, like the ceilings are just, you've got to bank on them.
Well, Ben and I had a conversation today on the phone. Just I had to explain what we're doing today because it's too hard for me to type it out. He wouldn't get it. It's too much detail.
Well, you sent me all those diagrams, G. And
it doesn't work, does it? Yeah. It's like applied mathematics. But what we're talking about, and I don't know if you agree, AJ, is the fact that, this, especially with when you look at like the Bears this year, why would you even think about starting Andy Dalton? Like, why would you do it?
No idea.
No. It's either Justin Fields, you start him straight away, and quarterbacks these days, mate, you throw them in the deep end, and if they don't swim, there's probably a pretty good chance that they're never going to now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the guys they threw in, and they say, you threw him in and you messed with his, his confidence, all that. But they've never become anything anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
And the guys, mate, you throw the guys in the deep end, and if they swim, well, that's what they do. Justin Herbert, perfect example. All the rookies, we could look at back Russell Wilson, like they start, bang, there's a few little cobwebs and whatnot, but mate, you find out pretty quickly if you're going to make it or not.
Yeah, and it's, I watch a lot of baseball, and it's funny, like with a starting pitcher or a young player in baseball, if they come up to the show and they're not quite right, they can send them down to the minor leagues to work on things and, have a bit more experience. You can't do that in the NFL. Like, it's just, you can't do it. But don't you think, Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace are going to waste a hell of a lot of time in preseason talking about how to start Andy Dalton when they should be completely nowhere near it. Like, you just know it's going to happen. Like, crazy.
Yeah, and Andy Dalton, like we spoke about, Benny, I said to Ben, Andy Dalton goes out there and they lose the first 2 games and go, okay, we got to start Fields now. And then he goes on and wins 70% of the games that he starts, right? Just say that happens. People be going, why did you start him in the first 2 games? We could have made the playoffs. We've missed out by 1 game. You just got to do it. You got a guy, you draft him, and all the talk has been great, mate. Just put him into the fire.
Listen, we'll keep moving, G, because
sorry.
think that you might be talking about this topic again.
Yes, I may be. I may be.
Yes.
Okay.
My favorite pick, just quickly, controversial, and I know this is something that might come up again as well, so we won't talk too much about him, but Trey Sermon, who I picked at the 8-10, who I thought for the end of the 8th was good value.
I got him an 8-1.
Oh, did you? Nice work.
Yeah.
And whatever you think about Trey Sermon, I think a dart throw and a running back who by the second half of the season could be the starter in San Francisco, that could be fantastic value. So that was my favorite. Let's go to worst pick. Your worst, Ben.
Look, I think I have to go at my 5-10, which was, kind of the result of not being able to take a second running back high because of the reversal. I took Miles Sanders at 5-10, which I just I don't hate it, but I just think that's probably the weakest part of my team. He's, he's a lead back. However, I've stopped trying to understand what they're doing in Philadelphia, and there's just so much risk there. And he's not going to be a guy who's going to even, some running backs you think, oh look, I'll take the punt because I know 6 or 7 weeks they're going to go off and they're going to be really productive, and I'll take the average average, like of that. But yeah, I'm just it's one that didn't. I sort of went go on,
Man, he could prove a lot of people wrong. Miles
Thanks,
Sanders.
AJ.
Well, Ben's hoping he does.
Yeah,
his draft stock. I mean, if we're talking dynasty, very very low.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll see. G, your worst pick.
My worst pick is probably not so much the player, but it's just the possibilities that I sort of probably the doors that I closed because of it. And TJ Hawkinson, I took it 3-12. And I think at that, I just think he's going to get a lot of time. And in this format, first downs, get points, tight end premium and all that. It'll probably work out really well, but I just thought it probably hamstrung me a bit. I probably should have gone maybe another running back there, and then that would have changed my draft order after that. I just felt, I maybe looking back at it now, I probably should have gone a running back and maybe just taken, because I ended up getting later in the second half of the draft, I got Jonnu Smith, Anthony Fersker and Hayden Hurst, which is not a great band, but maybe you can band-aid and stick them together. But it's probably just more that just where I probably should have just taken another position, maybe. And I might be saying, mate, that's a great decision now, taking him. He was the last of, the big guys are gone, and he was the next one. And then after that, it's sort of like, let's just take it and be done with it. Don't have to worry about the position anymore.
Is that where did you take your first tight end, AJ?
Second round, I took Kittle.
All right, okay, yeah. So you guys both went pretty early. You see, I didn't take one until the 11th. Is it? No, sorry, the 8th or 3.
And who was that?
That was Jonnu Smith.
Oh, okay.
But,
I got him 10 rounds later. 4 rounds later.
Yeah, but
just to rub it in a bit. That's all.
Yeah, cheers, mate. It just, I just feel like how many tight ends win you a league? I feel like Travis Kelce probably does. I'm struggling to think of many others. So yeah, that was my thinking. I wasn't going to really ever go tight end probably that high.
Yeah, that's a fair call. It's just such a dark throw after the top 3.
Kittle's a good. I think obviously he missed time last year, so he'll make up for it this year, I'm sure.
Oh, I think so. And people seem to be
with Trey Lance, would be great. One exhibition game in 2 years, he'd be great. He'd be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. My one was again. This is just one that I think at the time I just felt it was value on the board, and now I'm just sort of not so sure. And that was at the 903. Maybe you can't make a bad pick at the 903. I don't know. But Deebo Samuel, who I just don't know what he is. I just don't know what he is. So I sort of feel a little bit weird about the pick. I think there could have been safer picks to make. It could end up being a waste of a pick.
Don't feel too bad, AJ, because you said you can't make a bad pick at 903. In my division, it was Zach Moss. So I think that probably is a bad pick at the 903. But
Zach Moss, I think is
But Deebo, I think Deebo is a solid pick there. That's where you're looking at flex guys, right? And he's he's that guy. Yeah.
So let's pivot now to best late round guy. Let's go back to you, Ben, for who was your best pick in the late rounds?
Can I say a kicker? No, I'm kidding.
Wait, do you keep dying?
Did we all take a kicker?
Yeah, I've got two.
I took two. Yeah,
I took one.
Yeah.
No, I think I went for my last pick, so the 2203, Albert O from Denver.
Oh, wow!
I just think that's a nice little sneaky, tight end. Saw some looks last year. I think no offense, obviously the guy there, but he could be a sneaky little red zone guy in that offense, which doesn't have a quarterback, but apart from that, has a lot of good skill position players. So I like that pick.
Mate, he's on a ton of my, if not all of my dynasty teams.
Yeah.
As good as any pick in the 22nd, I'd probably have to argue. Yeah, pretty good. Gee, your best late round.
I don't know if I have a late round. I got a group of guys. Like my last 4 picks were all running backs.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought, okay, they're the biggest turnover.
Yes.
Why go and pick maybe a fourth wide receiver, or a third string guy on a team wide receiver, because basically he's going to be in a certain bracket. He's not going to get any more than what he's going to get. But the guy I picked up, the last 4 I picked up with Damian Williams in Chicago. I picked up Malcolm Brown for the simple fact that I went and picked up Myles Gaskin.
Good.
That's another nervous pick that I was like, but
the A+, and one of the reasons I gave the Chargers an A+ is because
what the hell is that? Quadri Olsen was my second last pick, and Alex Collins. So not that I just picked up guys that have a chance to be something. I think in Chicago, Damian Williams has a lot more speed than I'm blanking. Quick, help me. Chicago, running back, Chicago.
Montgomery,
ton more speed than Montgomery, has that burst. Malcolm Brown, as I said. Quadri Olsen, he was the only one that the new regime kept, the running back group. Everybody else was gone. So that's a good sign. And Alex Collins, mate, he's been running with the first without Chris Carson there in Seattle.
Is that Alex Riverdance Collins?
It is Riverdance Collins. Are these guys going to win me my league? No, but on any given week, they they might help.
St. Patrick's Day, I tell you.
Yes,
200 yards.
That's his day. So I had like a little cluster of guys there that I was, take a chance on. COVID.
Yeah. Does the 14th round count as late? Is that not late enough?
That's probably not late enough. You probably have to go in the last quarter.
I've got a later one.
From 17 on.
Well, I wrote down Marvin Jones. I picked him at the 14-10, which I quite like.
14.
But okay, I've got a later one though. At the 18-10, Traquan Smith.
Oh yeah.
Saints, who I think is, again, it's a dart throw. But when you look at the Saints receivers, there's not a lot there. So he's got some opportunity.
Yeah.
Last category that we wanted to look at was I can't believe I took him pick. The I can't believe I took him pick. G, do you want to start? I can't believe I took him.
But Antonio Brown. Not because I don't think it's a good pick. It's just because, mate, he's one of those guys. It's like you play peekaboo with your kid, and you just hope they're there when you open up. Like I have. Is he going to start the season? Is he going to screw up? Is he going to do something stupid? I don't know. That's the only reason I can think of. I can't believe I took him. I suppose you could say I can't believe I took a kicker in the 17th, but it was more just the fact that Antonio Brown is just the dude's just not wide the same as everybody else.
No,
Yeah.
he definitely isn't.
No.
He definitely isn't. Ben.
I've got two. For one's a personal reason and one's an official reason. The first one I took, as you know, I get a lot of hammer for being probably against the regime in San Francisco and what they've done. So I went on the 7-10, took Brandon Ayuk, our favourite receiver who we didn't like last year because he had crap hands. But I think, you got to give credit where it's due. I thought he had a really good rookie year, and he showed up, I think, and worked on some of the stuff that I think let him down in college. And
his deep field hands are fine. It's the short stuff that he's got to.
But he was a red zone threat as well in those kind of intermediate routes. So, he I think could have a pretty big year there in San Francisco. So I was happy with that. And then the second one was my third QB and at the 12:03, and I took Jared Goff. But simply because
shout out to DWZ's Jerry.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, like three picks before him went Cam Newton. He was the only person left. I had to take him, otherwise I'd have been into the non-starting quarterbacks for my third quarterback, which could cost you. So look, wasn't happy about it, but at the end of the day, I think he's going to put up middle of the road numbers, and that's fine by me. And as your third QB.
Yeah,
AJ?
And at least we're not playing in a scoring system in where you lose points. Oh, whoops. Anyway, my one again. Look, it's in the 19th, so again, it's probably not really a big deal. But Tyrod Taylor, which feels a bit like a wasted pick, probably is. I don't know. Anyway,
who knows?
I'll be honest, mate.
Nobody knows.
I took my second QB at the start of the fourth, and that was Kirk Cousins. And after that, mate, that was it. I didn't take a third QB because it ran out really. And I think was it Baker Mayfield last year that actually put up a negative in this format?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
So, mate, I ain't risking. I'd rather start, maybe
some wide receiver or something.
Yeah. Like I took Darnell Mooney in the 13th. I'd rather start Darnell Mooney over he'd probably give me 10. If he give me 10, I can't guarantee I'm going to get 10 out of some of the QBs that were left.
Oh, no.
Jared Goff.
Yeah. Absolutely not. Well, listen, let's keep this moving along because we've got quite a bit in this next section. But, G, the idea, I'll let you pitch it. The idea that you pitched for us this week was?
Just headlines that you might read next year after the season's over. And go into the 2022 season.
You mean this year, after the season? Oh, yes, next year.
After this season, going into the 2022. So after the end of this season, going into the 22 season, I think that's what I said. Yeah. So headlines that you might read if you read the paper, it might be a magazine. So it's got to be a magazine headline. What would it be?
Okay.
About who?
Yes.
It can be fantasy related, NFL related.
Now, these
defense, offense, it doesn't matter.
I've quickly mocked these up.
Okay.
And they're in kind of a random order, so we'll just have to see whose is whose.
Okay. All right. Shoot them out.
So let me just hang on. I'm just going to share this here. What
Didn't know how to do it.
Let me share that across like this. Okay, all right. So let me just work out which one this is. We'll have to search for the
Tubby rules. Huh?
Oh, look. Fields of
Ooh.
Gold. Whose headline is this? Fields of Gold.
That is mine.
Teams feel the sting of the 2020 draft.
Now, Fields of Gold, a song by Sting, hence the subtitle there. And that is based on Justin Fields. We're looking at him next year after having – he doesn't have to have an incredible year, but just he looks polished. He looks like he belongs in the NFL. And the teams above him, the Falcons might be one of them, that needed the quarterback, are going to look back and just gone, geez, we probably should have grabbed him.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I you know, we talked about this earlier, G. Like, for me, he just looks like Deshaun Watson coming out of college. Has the same kind of pedigree. He's a winner. He's on the big stage. It doesn't faze him. People
seem to have the very similar critiques against him, don't they?
Yeah, very much so.
But he's got the arm. He's beaten the big college, systems. He's had bad games against lesser ones. Mate, it's sounding very familiar.
Yeah, and I think that the one thing that I think he's a tough cookie as well. I think that's the other thing. He sticks in. He's a real team guy, and I just think you think about the fans up there, and they're a pretty hard bunch to please. They love their defense. They love their big, strong guys, and they haven't really had a guy like that on the other side of the line. You talk about Smoking Jay Cutler. You talk about. Mitch Trubisky was, a bit of a too squeaky clean, nice guy. So I think he's going to really hit the ground running up there for sure.
Yeah.
Denver could rue the day that they didn't draft him.
Yep.
So okay,
I don't think that couple that we saw in Richmond are still together after that nightmare from Denver. I think they were both, rooting for them to pick Fields, yes. And now it was a sign that their relationship's just not going to last.
No, that was the quickest walk up over the first round I've ever seen. Just up, gone, see we're out.
Okay, let's search for the headline. Just bear with me. We have to see what the headline is here. I wonder what it is. Ooh. Giants blueprinter runs out of Tony. Boom.
Yeah, that's my English humor coming in through there. Look, obviously, I think everybody was a little bit thrown by the fact that the Giants took Kadarius Toney in the first round at pick 20, and this is a team that has probably shocked a couple of times over the last few years in terms of, everyone was shocked that Daniel Jones went where he did. And I think the stigma there, I think they've still had that, oh, well, we're a bit of a new regime, the GM's still finding his way. But I think now's the time, right? Now's the time that they've got to deliver on the offensive side of the ball. And I just don't see Kadarius Toney putting up first round wide receiver numbers and being a guy who they're going to rely on week in, week out to win them games. I mean, his skill set is limited for a first round receiver. I mean, obviously he's, yards after the catch, yards after contact is, something that we can, probably see him deliver. But apart from that, I'm struggling to see where he's going to, bowl over offenses and be a lead receiver for this team that, let's face it, has better options with Kenny Golladay, even I think with Sterling Shepard, better receivers, better skill sets. So it's going to be an interesting one for, I think, the GM there and the coach, that they're going to have to find the best out of him this year, or, yeah, they're going to have to replace that pick, I think, pretty quickly.
Yeah, he's not. First round pick. That's not really good. He's not going to turn around your offense.
No.
All right. No. What's the next one, AJ?
Which is what you want from a first round pick, right? Well, hang on. Let me go up here.
Oh.
Yeah. Now hang on. Medical Marvel. Ask backwards woman. This is my one. Don't rattle the lion's cage. Spencer Rattler connecting well with St. Brown and Swift in first mini camp, which of course means what? Lions, first pick in the NFL draft next year. I've called it. So the Jared Goff experiment, well, it's really just a salary dump. If we're going to be honest, a bridge, we'll call him a bridge. And Spencer Rattler will be the starting quarterback for the Detroit Lions in 2022.
Well, there goes my Tyrell Williams picking the 18th and Scott Fishbowl.
Well, no, I mean next year. Oh, you mean Jared Goff?
Yeah. He had like maybe a 20-80 chance with Jared Goff. Now it's down to probably 0 of doing anything for me besides sitting on my bench.
Yeah.
Right.
You like that? Don't rattle the lion cage.
Oh, that's great, AJ. Sorry. Yeah. I didn't know we had to pump up your tyres, mate. I didn't know that insecure about it. But who's up next? Who's up next?
Right, let's have a look. Drafting woes. All right, hang on.
No.
Drafting pitfalls. Tails.
Mate,
actually, I had
you added that in. Because I couldn't come up with a byline. I was just shocked. So drafting pitfalls, and you even spelt it wrong.
What?
It's P-I-double-T.
Oh, whoops.
That's the English teacher in you correcting my spelling.
Oh, now it's ruined.
So do you not understand what I was getting at?
Drafting pitfall. There you go.
So this is more of not like an actual NFL. This is more of a from a fantasy point of view, just in basically based on the fact that where he's going in ADP is a tight end 4. I think in our Scott Fishbowl he went in the second round, middle of the second round.
Wow, that's early.
Yeah, after the 3 guys are gone, I think he was the 4th guy off the board. So and look, I've on some of the chat and on some of the Twitter, like how high he's going. I'm not saying he's not going to be good or anything like that. I just don't. It's going to be really tough for him to return on his ADP.
Oh, absolutely.
I hope he does, man. I hope I'm wrong. I'm a Falcons fan. I hope he smashes it.
Well, he's really got to be a top.
But how often does it happen that tight ends do it? Geez, when was the last one that someone came out? Was it
out of the gate?
It's probably 2000. Was it Gronk? He came out of the gate like an absolute madman as a rookie.
I think he did, but it wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't right. It wasn't game 1 though, was it? It was.
No, I'm not saying game 1. I'm talking over the entire season. But
I think so.
Yeah, by the end of the season, Gronk was just an absolute. He'd already written himself in as oh my god, this guy's going to be great.
Yes. Anyway, no, that's good. That's a good one, G.
Yeah, just spell it how I send it to you.
Yeah. Oh, this is mine. Newton's third law. Cam Newton to reinvent himself as a player advocate. This is basically me saying that I think Cam Newton is out of the league at the end of the year. And I was thinking, what would he do? Originally, I was thinking an agent, and I don't know if he'd be an agent. Let's player advocate. So that's kind of a fluffy way of saying he's kind of still involved in the sport. I don't think he'd be a coach. I don't know if he really has got the temperament.
He's getting into the fashion. He has to.
I should have done that.
Yes.
I should have said Cam Newton to open own clothing line.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah. That would have been good.
AJ, for me, I don't know. I mean, particularly from the Hard Knock stuff, and it just looks like Cam Newton's the last person who cares about anyone else on the earth apart from himself. Like as a player advocate, I'd be worried if I'm honest.
That's probably a fair call too.
Yeah. So that's my only.
Look, I may be wrong, and I probably don't. I don't watch the games because I have to watch them in in the condensed version. So I don't see all the stuff that happens on the sideline. Do you ever see him going along and firing up his teammates? He just seems to walk over, put his towel over his head, and then just stand there and watch.
Yep.
Yeah.
He doesn't even do Philip Rivers, where he comes over and gives everybody a spray, or you see Brady give people a spray, and mate, even just anything like that. He just seems to. I've done my part, mate. Mr. Whatever. I'll just go over here and call me when I'm ready to go back on.
That's right. That's right.
I might be missing something. All right.
Okay. What have we got here? Shanahan's sermon fails to lift faithful.
I'm just really. What's the Elvis thing? What's Elvis doing?
Elvis running for president. Elvis is alive.
Love it.
Running for president.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good because this is the world's most reliable paper as well.
It is.
So,
that's right.
It's pretty handy. This one's mine. And it's not really anything against Trey Sermon, because I do think he's a very very likable and multifaceted back that can really offer something to that offense. But doesn't every running back do that in San Francisco, no matter who they are and where they come from? And I just fail to see how not addressing the main receiver position in San Francisco is going to lift them above all the other teams in that division, particularly that have only gotten stronger over the offseason. So I just feel like that there's a lot of chat, a lot of talk about Trey Sermon as an RB1, and in fantasy, I don't think San Francisco have had an RB1 for the past, ever since Shanahan's been there, because, he shares it around.
They're always injured.
He's always injured. I mean, Raheem Mostert is a guy that obviously they like and is going to probably take the rock if he's fit and if he's on the field. We all know he probably won't be for more than about 8 or 10 games. So there is opportunity. But I think I'm not like this on him. I'm not hands up. I'm not, sing it to me. I'm not there right now. So yeah, I think I need more. I need to see more from that offense. Despite Sermon, who looks like he could be a valuable rookie anyway, but bigger things in San Francisco need to happen, I think, for them to get to the Super Bowl.
Okay, all right. What do we have next? Let's see. 10 more commandments found. Wow.
10 more. mate, we're not keeping up with the first 10, mate. We're screwed on the second 10.
What do we have here? Raiders chucky it away.
Yes.
Chucky it away.
Well, this is me, and this is it's going to get to a point where someone's going to start keeping Chucky out of the draft room, I think, because mate, they're just throwing away first round picks, aren't they? Really? Yeah, like last year they took Alex Leatherwood, which I think everybody said you could get him in the second round.
Yep.
2020 they took Henry Ruggs. Well, let's give him we'll see how he plays this year. But guys like Judy went up. They took him before Judy. CD Lamb, Justin Jefferson. 2019 they took Celine Farrell. How's that worked out, AJ?
Cleveland Farrell.
Cleveland's how you spell it? Cleveland.
Yeah. He's he'll be out of the league soon.
He's
making 53.
Mate, he's pick number 4.
Yeah.
Well, he was overshadowed by their 4th round pick that year, Max Crosby, who was also a defensive end. So that just shows how bad that pick was.
Oh, Celine Farrell. Just can't get his name right. And so they had 3 first round picks. And Josh Jacobs, well, okay, but it's a first round pick 24. Go get a running back in, in the second or third. And Jonathan Abrams, who's, mate, he's not looking that good either, is he, AJ? From what I know, you're the defense guy.
He's looking pretty good. I think he's going to have a good year this year, G.
Well, they have to do a few. From what I read, he's a bit of a problem child.
I don't know about that, but
he's a character for sure. On the Hard Knocks, he was answering back. He was very raw, which I don't mind. Like, you want that bit of attitude and arrogance in a defensive player at safety, I think. But naivety is his big issue, and he was shown up. He got a bad injury in his first year, but he was shown up a few times last year, trying to knock the head off receivers or trying to, go for an interception and just getting absolutely, blown away. So, yeah, not a first round guy for sure.
Okay. So that's hence, just keep Chucky out of the draft room, I think.
All right, we're going to keep things moving along. All right. What's going on here? Hang on a second. Bigfoot versus aliens. Ooh, interesting there. Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Oh, I'm up again. Can you dig it? Here we go. This is not going to be too good for Ben because he no longer plays at the Minnesota Vikings. But I've got Stefan Diggs. Mate, this is going to be the year he's going to end up as number one receiver in the league. Like last year, he had 15, 35, and 8 TDs. Mate, this year he backs it up with just as many yards, if not a few more, and 10-plus TDs. Because I think this is the year the Bills are really going to start to that offense is going to roll this year. If they can get a tight end, it'd be good. But I think just with what we saw from Josh Allen last year and just rolling onto this year, and what we've seen what Diggs can do now in a real team with an offense. So that's, can you dig it? He's the number one guy in fantasy.
It's interesting. It's interesting because obviously I'm a huge Stefan Diggs fan. I collected his cards, his sports cards, his jerseys. I've got everything. So the day that they traded him was obviously a tough one for me. But like, the guy was clearly screaming for opportunity there, and what did he do last year? Was given most of that opportunity and just absolutely balled out. Fair play to him. He was phenomenal. He's got some of the best hands in the league. He's got some of the best route running skills in the league, and he's just a showman as well. He's a superstar guy you want to see on a Sunday. You go to the stadium, your eyes are on him straight away. Like, he just has this presence. Man, I'm digging it right now. I wish he was still alive.
Yeah. Well, he's 30 both PPR and standard next year. He just moves up 2 spots.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see what.
Sorry, Ben.
All right. Hang on.
Damn, I had fun with my wife on there.
Careful.
The door behind me's open too.
All right, G. There you are in the bottom corner, G. There you are.
This is my one. ETN's gonna eat. Vows to be contender for MVP. I'm not saying this year, but next. We'll give him a year. We'll give him a year to get acclimated to the NFL and the system. But, I think they drafted him for a reason, and I think that he is going to, let's hope. But I think, if you look at the talent of ETN, and certainly, him staying in college was perhaps a bad move. But, when he was coming out, I mean, we were talking about him as being, better or at least the equal of all of those guys who came out last year, We were equally as excited about him. So the fact that he's sort of flown a little bit under the radar almost, I feel now. But I'm kind of excited for the possibilities in this offense. It's going to be, by all accounts, a fast run offense.
You do understand that, that the headline, you sort of encapsulate his name into it.
Yeah, ETN. ETN.
Yeah,
eat.
Yeah, I wouldn't have put the eat. I would have used the ETNs. And use the eat as the ETN. You know, the play on words. You know how they like to use all that. That's
what would I say then? Eat.
I don't know.
ETN exclamation mark. I
don't know. I'll work on it for you.
Okay,
that's right.
Sounds good. Hang on, let me just. I'm burying the lead. Burying the lead. Oh, what have we got? Oh, quarterback. I added a little bit of editorial here. Quarterback decision hurts Eagles. See, my byline. Read that. See, wish he went back from where he went.
Oh, that's not my. Nice.
I was too busy worried about the comic who put a live pet in a sandwich.
That's good. No, but the reason I put this down is the fact that maybe the Eagles have a real quarterback problem come this time next year, with the fact that Ertz doesn't improve on what was his completion rate was around about 52%. And you're not going to make it in the NFL with a completion rate of 52%. And I just don't know with that offense. And as Ben said, he's given up trying to work out what the Eagles are doing. And I don't really think he's got the receivers around him either, except for the Slim Reaper. But let's just see what happens there to really elevate him as a quarterback. So that's why I think they might be having this talk next year if he can't improve that completion rate.
Yep, that's a fair call.
And with a completion rate like that, mate, your receiver's going to be nothing.
Yeah, and there were times in those last few games last year where they were constantly on sort of 3rd and long or 4th downs, and he was trying to. He couldn't even complete little slants to Zach Ertz, to get the distance. It was really worrying to sort of say, well, if the kid's got a great arm, then surely you should be throwing it down the field, not trying to spin off to your sort of veteran receivers. But yeah, I think you're right. I think that could come round again, and we'll see where the Eagles are picking again next year.
Like he did, you go back and you watch him, he did make some really good downfield throws. But, mate, if every quarterback does it, even if you're crap, you're eventually going to hit somebody. It's going to drop in the breadbasket. So even AJ could do it on the highlight.
You would hope so. You would hope so.
So who will you got next?
All right, let's see. Okay, hold on. All right. Just under the talking cat. Old fashions. I must confess, I didn't really understand this headline, Ben. This is yours. Yeah, old fashions, new home, comfy with Carson.
So for those who follow the NFL on a weekly basis, guys, old fashioned is Allen Robinson's new nickname for himself. He used to be called A-Rob, and he used to list himself as A-Rob, and that's what he liked to be called. Last year, he changed his Twitter handle to Old Fashioned, and that's what he likes to be called now. And he is the premier free agent next year at the end of the year. He hasn't signed a long-term deal with the Bears, and I think he's probably the guy that everybody, even those that don't even follow the Bears, just wants. We want him to go where he will be loved with a quarterback who can actually play above average at the position. And I think that the team that has the cap space, they've got over 80 million already for 2022 next year without even blinking. And we just talked about him, Carson Wentz down in Indianapolis. Can we imagine a scenario where in Indianapolis for next year, whether they are there or thereabouts the Super Bowl this year, they maybe don't make it, so they go, right, what do we need? T.Y. Hilton off the books.
I was going to say, yeah.
Jonathan Taylor, boom, Michael Pittman, boom. let's add A-Rob and just go out for an all-star attack there. I like it, and I think it will happen.
Okay.
Very nice.
I like
Very
it.
nice.
I know, Memphis from the Dynasty Warzone, he'll love it. Absolutely love that.
I'm sure
you best friend, mate.
As well. I'm sure he's very much a fan of the old-fashioned.
All right.
What do we got?
I don't know. Let's see.
Do people
here we
read this
go.
stuff?
Whoa, what's that?
Do people read
This
this
is real, isn't it? Man's head explodes in barber's chair.
Oh, well, that I can understand happening. But the four-legged woman, come on.
3 I could understand. All right.
Yeah.
So this is yours, Ben, I think, isn't it? Chargers draft slate Garner eat out of the palm of their hands.
So it's a bit of explaining to do here.
Oh, yeah, please.
This is not your Viz or your Playboy headline. We're talking the Australian here or the monthly. Chargers. So obviously, draft slate Rashawn Slater in there. Ghana, which is where Asante Samuel Jr. The Asante people are from Ghana. Okay, so there you go. That's him included, and then going to eat out the palmer of their hands, Josh Palmer. So we're talking about their 3 draft picks from the first 3 rounds. The Chargers had a fantastic draft. They also, and I'm going to mention an IDP guy who I really like, Chris Rumpf out of Duke, who is kind of a defensive end but floats around, can play linebacker, outside linebacker. Will be all over that Chargers offense in different guises. I just think this team the draft has set themselves up to have a fantastic year, and they've got obviously Rashawn Slater provides exactly what you need for Justin Herbert. Asante Samuel Jr. adds a bit of grit to that secondary, which has been pretty good, but probably has lacked that big guy, and obviously lost a big piece in the offseason as well. And Josh Palmer, I think, is probably one of the most underrated guys out of the wide receivers who's been drafted this year. And when you see Keenan Allen, you see Mike Williams, you see what they've got there. He could be a sneaky guy. He's going to play a lot of snaps. They're going to give him a lot of time. And I think he could be a nice little sort of wide receiver 3 flex option for you.
Very nice.
I like Josh Palmer. AJ knows I like Josh Palmer.
Yeah.
AJ said, who's Josh Palmer? G, tell me about this Josh Palmer bloke we just picked up. So
I literally had no idea. But
don't worry about it. It's a nice little pickup.
That is good. All right, let's see what we've got now. Hang on. What have we got? Oh, here we go. This is yours, isn't it, Ben?
It is, yeah. And it's just a bit of
a
bit of a play on what we heard this week with the fact that Tom Brady last year played through a completely torn MCL apparently and still won a Super Bowl. So next year when the Bucs repeat. We will actually find out that he actually played with one arm for the whole year at the end of the year. So,
a prosthetic on the other side.
Yeah. And funnily enough, I think further down in the article here, they go on to talk about his severed leg. There's the next reattach. So maybe that's what happens. Who knows?
Oh, maybe. Oh man, Tom Brady is just made of something else, isn't he? I mean,
it's all up here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
No, not just. I don't mean as a quarterback being smart. I mean, just your mind controls everything else. And
yes. Yeah. What's this one, G? MVP travesty.
Travesty, as in Travis Kelce. Has the biggest season for a tight end in NFL history.
Wow.
Eclipsing Gronk's 2011 season, where he had 1,327 yards and 17 TDs.
Ooh, Wow.
Travis Kelce moved into the number one position this year. One, because he knows the end is near. And two, to redeem themselves to win the Super Bowl. And he's going to be the driving force on this offense to do it. And the travesty is, and you spelled it wrong again. I sent it to you with an I, as in Travis.
No.
It doesn't make any sense. My play on words. Thank you. And he's not even nominated for MVP.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Right.
And this is where we just get to the point where if you're not a quarterback, it's not happening. You're not going to win the MVP, because the year that Gronk went and did that, he wasn't even nominated in the four nominations were all quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good call, G. And like, to be honest, he came pretty close last year. I think he set the NFL record for yards anyway, with like 1,400 and something for a tight end. And I think he had 11.
No, I think he's a little bit under. I think I've written down here that Gronk still holds the most yards and TDs in a single season. He holds both records plus overall.
Yeah, maybe. But I saw that, like, if you also add his postseason, he had 31 catches in the postseason last year for 360 yards and 3 TDs, which gives him 14 TDs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Nearly 1,700 yards on the season, which is just phenomenal. The guy's an absolute machine. Feels like he lives and breathes the game, right? Like, still. And it looks ageless, to be honest. You say, oh, the end is nigh. I mean, I know he's a tight end and he takes some punishment, but I don't know. Keeps himself young. Follow his Instagram, you'll know what I mean.
I just love the fact he's an absolute nutter.
Yeah.
They can play the game.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Is that it?
No. I think we've got maybe two more.
Bigfoot's love slave. Holy shit.
Oh, this is mine. He's the Allen Key. Josh Allen becomes the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, which is a no-brainer. When he signs a contract, he will be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL until the next one signs.
Yes.
Which will happen. But yeah, anyway, big contract on the way.
I like the Allen Key. Unlocks, everything in the Buffalo's offense.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. Thank you.
Now you're getting the hang of it now. This is good.
Thank you.
What are we, AJ? What are we talking though? What figure do you think is gonna? Because is he going to reset the bar again, or do you think?
Probably. I mean, each subsequent one seems to, but it's got to. Well, I don't know. It can't just keep on going up and up forever, because the salary cap this year went down. So, it's got to reach a tipping point, because, you have other players you've got to pay on your team.
What's Mahomes on? 50? Half a bill. Isn't it? $500 million contract at 10 years at $50 million a year?
Something like that, isn't it? Is Allen a guy that you would give a 10-year deal to? Just his body and his skills?
That's why I was bringing up the 10 years. I don't know if I would give him a 10-year.
Yeah.
You might give him more money, Ben, per year, but we're not giving you 10 years. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, Buffalo seemed a bit smarter than that as well. I don't think they'll go and do that. But I think probably, a 6-year deal or something like that, with maybe that breaks the 55, 60 a year mark might be a good one. And then probably by that time as well, if he's as good as we all think he's going to be, and his body's still holding out, well, he's, a franchise tag by that time will be more than that anyway. So yeah, it'd be interesting.
It's just on one of those, like a 5 year something, and after the 3rd year, we just redo it.
Extend. Yeah.
Just extend it. So,
yeah.
All right, we got one more.
I think there's one more. Hang on, let me. Redneck vampire attacks trailer park. What else have we got here? Oh, Viking sets sail to OK Corral.
So explain yourself.
Yeah, so that's me.
It's you. I thought it was AJ.
No, not me.
It's me. I think next year we'll see the Vikings probably make a decision to move on from Kirk Cousins, whether or not, after his contract, which he's still got a couple more years on. I think they'll go out and draft a QB. I think I'd love it to be Spencer Rattler, to be honest. He looks like a real guy who could fit in Minnesota. But realistically, we're not going to be able to afford that. So bit of a thing from me here just about the Vikings, who I think people have assumed. I think people assumed that Cousins wouldn't last this long at all with the Vikings, but I think he's been a very good quarterback, solid guy, and the Vikings' issues have probably been elsewhere. But a guy that I think they could go for, who might be sort of a first round pick, but a bit later down the board, is Matt Corral out of Ole Miss, who, look, he was a top recruit coming out of high school, but had a bit of a rough freshman year. But then last year was just unbelievable. Completed 73% of his passes, 3,337 yards, 29 touchdowns, and just 12 interceptions. But he also ran for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns as well. So, look, he's a guy that has a really interesting skill set. He's got a big arm. He can sort of really get into tight windows with his throws. And yeah, I just think he's the kind of guy that I think they'll look at and think this guy can throw it down the field, but a bit like Cousins, he's accurate and he can run with the ball as well and make some big time throws. So look, I think, the Vikings have probably lacked that kind of dual threat quarterback to really take them to the next level, which Corral is. And I'll be watching pretty closely, I think, this year, some of these guys, because unlike the last couple of years where, you've had probably 2 or 3, you've been like, wow, these guys are going to go, top 5, top 10. Past Rattler, I think it's a bit of a mixed bag, and it's a bit of a more probably guys who are probably going to be solid NFL starters. But it really depends on development with a few of them and how they come into the league and where they land. So it's a little bit more interesting, I think, if you're a fan of evaluating QBs and watching them in college and seeing how they get on with the NFL. So yeah, and obviously the OK Corral is one of the most famous jewel sites in the US. Signs of many gunslingers, which Matt Corral is. So yeah, a Viking and a gunslinger, my 2 favorite things.
It works on so many levels.
It does. I like it. Well, hopefully we've taught AJ how to actually put a headline together.
Very good work, gentlemen.
Some good ones.
Thank you.
So
you just wait down and see how many come true.
That's right.
Probably none of them.
Probably. And the unpredictability of sport is a very difficult thing to call something 12 months in advance. But we have a lot of fun trying, and if it was so easy to predict, then there'd be no fun in it.
I'd be rich.
Yeah, would you?
I'll become a gambler, mate. If I could predict the future, I can tell you right now.
Everybody would. It would just be boring. Everybody would be able to do it. So,
guys, before we move, like we talked Scott Fishbowl earlier, but I just wanted to commend you guys on absolutely nailing it on the podathon. That was, I think the whole Scott Fishbowl world was jolted into action at 5 a.m. in the US or whatever by your guys at ACDC Lux, but also I know it wasn't. It was. Who was it? Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, top effort, guys. That was phenomenal, and
thanks, man.
Very, very enjoyable to watch. Even just the faces of Sal and the guys watching it was a joy. So good effort.
I didn't get to see the faces.
I was going to wear my Podathon T-shirt, but Neil still got it. He stole it. So there you go.
Oh,
I hate that bloke. I really do.
Typical Neil stuff.
Yeah. Mate, well, that's what you get from those hoity-toities in the sort of, where is it? The Hawthorn, Richies walk around the grounds of some private school. Please.
Oh, man. Well, Ben, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
That was fun, guys. Always a pleasure.
Something different.
That was a lot of fun.
We're going to pass the time at this time of the year with something, because there's so many podcasts out there at the moment, and I just feel that just hearing the same thing just said in a different way.
Yes. Yeah.
So and obviously, I think it was a shame. I think we were all meant to sort of meet up on Sunday to catch up for a beer and some food, which obviously has been curtailed, but I'm sure we'll do that soon. But yeah, this was equally fun, of course. I wish I had a seltzer too, but
it's going to be far more fun to make fun of Neil in person.
But we'll just put it back a week. But actually, no, we won't say put it back a week, because if I say that, that's the death knell, and we'll be in lockdown for another week.
Yes.
But yeah, soon we'll say.
Did I see 9 weeks till football? Did I hear 9 weeks? Is it till the season starts?
You got some work to do, AJ. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes. No,
yes.
Yeah. You are quite right. So anyway, thank you guys for joining us, and that was a lot of fun. Good. Yeah.
There you go, wrapping this up, mate.
Yeah, I know. I'll see if I can wrap it up quickly. So on behalf of Ben, G, and myself, have a good one. We'll catch you next time. See, that was quick, wasn't it?
That was good.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Keep well. See you soon.